Hello there. Are you getting ready for Passover too? Fantastic. It's a little tricky right now, isn't it? I mean, we all have to stay inside. We can't meet with our normal family, our normal friends. We can't practice that magical Jewish tradition of welcoming new people into our home. Does it even really feel like Passover? I've been giving it some thought, and here's what I've decided. Even if we cannot welcome new people into our home, by welcoming a new Jewish tradition into our home from somewhere else in the world, it's like we're practicing the art of welcoming the stranger. So please join me as we welcome the stranger. So let's start with different countries from around the world and how they would start their Seder. Take one of these traditions if you wish and bring it into your own Seder this year. See what you like, see what sticks, feel connected to our Jewish global community. So before we even begin our Seder, we have to come into the home. In this case, it could be that you're coming from your kitchen to your living room, or your bedroom to your dining room, or your basement to, I don't know how your house is configured. Whatever works for you, wherever you're doing your Seder, have a pillow fort, you do you. In China, a new modern tradition is to have a sign on the door to tell people to say Chag Sameach, so that they know to let you into the house. So maybe when you're coming into your dining room this year, you'll say Chag Sameach or Chag Pesach Sameach, your choice. Another way to welcome is when we set the table, the Seder plate should not be on it right away. This is a Moroccan custom where the Seder plate is brought in. I need my Seder plate. Haha. The Seder plate is brought in with great ceremony and luster, covered in a blanket or a scarf. It is then held over the head of the youngest person at the table, and that person passes it to the next person to their left, and around it goes till it is placed in its ceremonial home and the scarf is removed. Now, I don't know about you, but when I start my Seder plate is just sitting in the center of the table, and unless the Haggadah says, point to this thing on the Seder plate, I don't look at it. This is a really neat way to put honor into the origin of the Seder plate, and it's a way to put honor into the narrative and the storytelling that we can find in our Seder plate, which we don't always get to do at our Seders. So maybe try that this year. It's time to talk about Maggid. What is Maggid? Mazeh Maggid. Maggid is probably the most important part of your Seder. We want it to be Shulchan Aruch with the matzo ball soup. We do. But it's actually Maggid. Maggid is when we tell the entire story of the going out of Egypt. And to be fair, sometimes when we look at our Haggadot, it can be a little dry. So let's pull in some traditions from some other parts of the world, some other cool Jewish traditions. If you were in Tunisia or Sicily, the leader might begin the Maggid by putting the Seder plate above their head and passing it around the table. Sometimes this happens while you're singing Avadim Hayinu, which means we were slaves in the land of Mitzrayim, Ata b'nei chorin, but now we are children of freedom. Sometimes, maybe if you were in another North African country, you might be handed the Afikomen. You might give it specifically to the youngest person of the table, who then has to lug it in from another room. And there's a speech that goes with this that's fairly common from around the world, although I think Morocco started it. And you say, where are you from? I'm from the land of Mitzrayim. Where are you going? I'm going to Yerushalayim. Come with me. And then you can pass the Afikomen to the next person at the table and the speech that continues, or that's the only one who does it. There's another tradition in Yemen where someone comes in with a bag. I think this was also practiced in Spain. I'm sure you've all been dying to know what's in this bag. Ready? Sometimes you can have the bag prepared ahead of time and given to one person who's meant to be from Mitzrayim. Sometimes the person who is from Mitzrayim prepares it themselves. You can put items that are supposed to go on the Seder plate in it, or you can put other things in it and explain how they tie into the story of Passover. I have my running shoes in my bag because we had to leave in the middle of the night after the last plague, and we had to go as quickly as we could. I have, this is obviously for the wrong holiday. What else is in my bag? I have my Seder plate so that we can remember all the amazing parts of our story, the roar of bitterness and slavery, the karpas of the freshness of spring when this story took place. Lots of options here. Maggid does not need to be boring. When you reach the part in Maggid with the 10 plagues, here's an interesting new tradition for you. At my Seder table, and possibly at yours, we hold our cup, dip in our pinky, and put the drops on our plate. If you were in Greece, or maybe even Yemen though, you would put some of your cup of juice or wine, or in Greece vinegar, you're not drinking the vinegar, this is purely for the plagues, you'd pour it into a little tin can with every plague, and then the leader of the Seder takes that can and pours it into the dirt outside as though to banish the plagues from the house. Now near the end of the Seder comes one of our favorite parts, singing joyous Passover songs. We all have some favorites. My personal is Echad Miodea. We're going to get there in a second. But one that's very popular as well is Dayenu. And if you were in Italy or Spain, you might have an interesting tradition, something again you could bring into your home. All throughout the Seder, you would have had a crown sitting on your table. And when the time for Dayenu has arrived, someone at your table is selected to be the pharaoh. That person gets to wear the crown. Then everyone pulls out spring onions, and during the singing of Dayenu, they whip each other with the spring onions, except for Pharaoh, who walks around the table supervising the entire thing. Something to bring into your Seder? Who can say? So, after Dayenu, what other Passover songs do we have to look forward to? Well, Echad Miodea for one of them. Except, if you're part of a Ladino culture, maybe it isn't called Echad Miodea. I just so happen to have here Quiene supiese, Baruch hu Baruch Shemo. Quen supiese entiediense, alavar al Dio creense, quala es el uno es el creador, Baruch hu Baruch Shemo. Which means, on the first day, what did our Creator make? One Creator who is blessed, is my rough translation. I will scan this and it will be part of your Passover package. Also in the little doobly-doo explanation below, I will include links so you can hear a much better performer perform this lovely song. Another song you might be interested in is Chad Gadya, which we know is supposed to be Aramaic, but there are various translations of it. I'm sure if you look in your own Haggadah, we can find it in English. There are other ones where you can find it in Ladino or in German or in Russian. And again, in the doobly-doo below, if you want to find other cool links that I have posted there so you can even see very old copies of this song. We've been doing it for a while. There's audio clips, there's cool lyrics. Try and add some new ones to your Seder. Maybe make up your own verses for Echad Miodea. Maybe make up your own verses for Chad Gadya. You do you. And when you do you, put it in the comments below. Boop, 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 boop. Well, that's all I have for you guys. Hopefully it's some good stuff to get your Seders rockin', make your Seders as inclusive as possible in a different way since we cannot physically welcome new people to our table. So let's try and all welcome a new tradition. And tell me about what you're gonna do in the comments. Also, please check the description where I'm gonna put links to recipes, to songs, to sources for all the information that I've given you. Also, in the comments below, let me know how many times you spotted the Afikomen. Lehitraot l'shana haba'a b'Yerushalayim. Next year in Jerusalem, or hopefully next year in our beautiful Cleary home for our Seder.